to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone reporting this meeting for the public? Thank you, gentlemen. Roll call, Mr. Boyer.
Mrs. Harenza.
Here.
Mr. Hershey. Here. Mrs. Kuhn.
Here.
Mrs. McAvoy.
Here.
Mrs. Phillips. Mr. Pottieger.
Here.
Mr. Redner. Mrs. Taylor.
Here.
Mrs. Waxler.
Here.
7 in attendance.
Welcome to our visitors and one of our new school board members, Mr. Schiffers. Is there any announcement meetings? Our next meeting is December 4th at 6 o'clock here in this room. It's a school board reorganization meeting. An executive session was held on November 6th for a legal item. We'll move on to student representative report. Welcome. Have we had you here before, Abby, with us?
Not this year, but last year.
All right. Well, would you both, before you get started, introduce yourselves to us and tell us a little bit about yourselves?
My name is Abby Zeckman. I'm a senior at Wyomissing. I'm a part of the soccer, basketball, and lacrosse team, as well as the student council vice president and secretary of the class of 2024.
Great.
Hi, I am Jasper Platt. I am a junior. I'm a part of the lacrosse and cross country teams, and I also do Monty Wen, Quiz Bowl, and math meeting.
Terrific. Thank you.
So, as
All right. For clubs and activities, the Junior Senior High School Drama Club is excited to present 6th teen edition on November 18th and 19th. We look forward to the show. The Junior Senior High School Quiz Bowl team will compete in our first competition tomorrow. And the Monty Wen Club, led by Mr. Tranby, we are hosting our regional training tomorrow. Schools from the region will join us here in the auditorium to learn how to participate in Monty Wen, as well as have practice debate. Students will also head to Washington, D.C. this spring to compete in NAMM.
our high school student council just hosted the first club council meeting, and this is where representatives from many different clubs are gathering together to share different ways that we can collaborate together to basically expand and collaborate between clubs. Service Club participated in their first fall highway cleanup last week, and we appreciate how our students give back to our community. Our Mini-Thon Club is preparing a kickoff assembly for the end of the month, where they will launch the theme for the Mini-Thon this spring and launch their donor drive campaign as we continue to raise money to support our Four Diamonds Funds. And last for our clubs and activities, our Junior High Drama Club auditions for Newsies Junior will begin after Thanksgiving break, and we wish good luck to our students who will audition for this show.
For athletics, Spartan David Giles earned 21st place in the state in cross country. Our girls cross country team placed 2nd in districts and qualified for states. Spartan Addie Cohen earned 1st place in the district for July. Congrats, Addie. Our Spartan girls soccer team won the county championship and finished 2nd in districts.
And our season actually just ended past Saturday. We lost in the state county, or quarterfinal, sorry. But continuing on, our Spartan bocce ball team is preparing for their first season, and we are super excited to welcome this sport to Wyomissing area. And 2 WASD students and staff attended the Unified Champion School Leadership Summit at Kutztown University. The goal of the summit, sponsored by the Special Olympics of PA, is for student leaders to collaborate and plan club activities that provide inclusive opportunities for their school communities.
For academics, the annual Pops concert was last week. This fundraiser supports our Spartan music program. It was a great night, and we enjoyed the musical talents of our students. Students from the Junior Senior High School Concert Choir traveled to Albright College for the inaugural Albright Choral Festival. Over 100 students from local schools gathered together for a day of singing and performed 4 pieces for family and friends. Students participated in the annual Career Day event at the Junior Senior High School. This special day brought many local business representatives to our school to help Spartans learn about various career opportunities. Ninth grade students also participated in industry tours, leaving campus to visit local businesses. Seventh grade students participated in Spartan Success Day with various activities to help them be successful in high school and work on team building. A special thank you to all community members who volunteered their time to speak on Career Day, and to the Career Day Committee of volunteers who planned the day for our students.
Our AP US History students participated in the walking tour of Philadelphia to bring life to many of the historical landmarks they learned about during the course. And our last thing for today, under academics, congratulations to the Wyomissing area students who were inducted into the National Technical Honor Society at BCTC. These students include Nate Dalton, Francisco Fabian, Paulo Marola, Sam Miller, Akira Montes, Jasmine Moran, John Serrano-Fick, Elena Serrano-Fick, and Walker Vithhofer. And that is all we have for today.
Great. Anybody have any questions for these guys? No? Well, thank you for coming. You're welcome to stay, but it's a little boring, so you're certainly welcome to leave.
Thank you for having us.
Just want to add, before our students leave, the bocce ball, Dr. Lengel shared that they're going to be looking for a scrimmage. This year is a little different. They're going to be going out to play other teams. So she asked if any board members or administrators want to come in for a friendly scrimmage. So there should be an email coming out, and if you're available, you come in and help our students prepare for the season. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Also, to add on to that, I think that'll be a really neat, it's like the team versus the teachers. And so I think the students will really enjoy that, but also we're trying to get a student section there. And I'm going to push that out on the student section, Instagram and media and things. So I think that'll be a really neat experience for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thanks so
us.
much.
Thank you.
All right, liaison reports, BCIU, Mrs. Taylor.
The board meets this coming Thursday, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. How long is that meeting, usually, Mrs. Taylor, the BCIU meeting?
They start with dinner at 5:30. The meeting starts at 6:15, and we're usually done by 8:15, 8:30.
Okay, thank you so much. BCTC, Mr. Pottieger.
And while you're talking about schedules, we start dinner at 5:30. The meeting starts at 6:30, and then 7:30, so we finish by 8:15, 8:30 as well. So dinner is optional, so you can't make that, that's fine. Typically, I would say every other meeting or so, we have some sort of situation where somebody comes in and talks to us, or we go to one of the specialties as part of BCTC to learn more about that. So speaking of that, last one, we were actually outside, and they have electrical poles set up at about eye level with, I guess, apparently about 30 different things they can do on these things. So essentially the kids are learning, what maybe these high linesmen do with at ground level. So obviously you take that safety, or risk factor out a little bit. Now they can just work on that part of it without worrying about falling down their ladder or whatever else they are and having their harness. So pretty amazing what's there. And I will put on my salesman hat just as far as anybody who has the slightest bit of interest. It's a great program. And having one of my kids go through one of their programs was pretty neat, but that was only 1 year, so I don't have the background on that. Maybe some other folks here might or have an interest in, but it was really incredible experience. So I would say, if you're looking to fill in a spot, that's really one worth looking at. Not that the other ones aren't. But,
Thank you.
to finish the report, basically, having a great year. Wyomissing, I think Rob has pointed out a couple times, we have, I think, the most students we've ever had there. They have the most students they've ever had, and continue to do the open houses. They said they were really fair. Again, I think they had about 13 other programs there. Had a really good turnout. They did mention this year just seems special. Those were Dr. Stoffer's words, and really just kind of thought there was something happening this year that was kind of unique to the other years. Maybe it's kind of finally that first year they feel like, okay, COVID's behind and everybody's there doing what it is, but just continue to grow by leaps and bounds, and a great experience for everybody. Next meeting is December 14th. It's the middle of December, so, and it's typically a Wednesday night.
Thank you so much. Brooks EIT, Mr. Boyer.
We do not have a meeting. Our next meeting is December 14th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Waits, Mrs. Kuhn.
We actually met today at noon, and Molly is working on a Fund and Need project for the Blue and White Party, trying to get that secured before we go into the holiday season. There is a pop-up meal that we do for fundraisers. That's Thursday night. If you're interested, let me know. I'll send you the link for that. And the student committee, actually started meeting to plan fundraising for Senior Day and also to work on volunteer projects for their student committee. And we meet again December 18th at 6:30 p.m. in this room.
And their meetings are typically at noon?
They alternate, so
Okay.
just because of people's schedules, so they do some at noon and some at 6:30 at night, so it varies.
Okay, thank you so much. And did you have a report from Mrs. Phillips?
Yes, I do, actually, she texted me.
Thank you.
Last week, PTA held Career Day at Junior Senior High School. Students got the chance to listen to many local business owners to learn about different careers. This was my first time volunteering at the event, and I was extremely impressed with the amount of speakers who took the time to come in and speak with our students. As always, the PTA did an amazing job organizing such a wonderful event. I would like to thank Tracy Weiss and Laurie Waxler for making Career Day such a success. PTA has a fun event coming up in December. The holiday shop will be on December 9th from 9 a.m. until noon. The PTA is still looking for volunteers for this event. A link to sign up is posted on their Facebook page. And the next PTA meeting is this coming Wednesday at the Hills at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Waxler, for all your years of selfless
It's a
volunteering.
labor of love.
Right, it is, and you've made a big difference.
We have over 100 speakers that come in every year, and you know, it's really great.
That's great. Thank you for keeping involved with that. Board member recognition. We'll start with the Pennsylvania School Board Association Honor Roll. The following board members have been recognized for long-term service and dedication to the Wyomissing Area School District and community. When school directors reach 8 years of service, they're presented with a certificate from the Pennsylvania School Boards Association to show appreciation for their commitment and dedication year after year. We're recognizing Mrs. Terrie Taylor, Mr. Ryan Redner, Mrs. Laurie Waxler, and Mrs. Maria Zolkowski. Are you out there in the world, Mrs. Zolkowski?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Well, welcome, and we miss you, and we're glad that you can be here by Zoom.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is what we've received from the PSBA. I'll read aloud. Good evening. The Pennsylvania School Boards Association would like to honor a few school board directors for their years of dedication to the Wyomissing Area School District. School board service has long been a crucial part of our nation's legacy and its commitment to public education. The consummate school directors are described as ethical, principled individuals with a deep desire to serve. They believe in the value of our public schools and local control of public education for the benefit of all students. Today, school districts are expected to offer more services along with world-class instruction with limited resources. These expectations provide a tremendous challenge for school directors, unpaid volunteers who give of their time to contribute to the schools and communities they serve. For more than 35 years, PSBA has been recognizing the contributions of dedicated local school directors with long-term service. The honor roll is the association's way of thanking those individuals who exemplify leadership by giving unselfishly of their time and talents for the betterment of the public schools, serving students across this great Commonwealth. We recognize the following for being part of this rich legacy: Mrs. Terrie Taylor, Mr. Ryan Redner, Mrs. Laurie Waxler, Mrs. Maria Zolkowski. And Mrs. McAvoy, were you part of, not this year, but you previously received 8-year recognition. So. And I believe you all have an honor roll certificate at your desk, and Mrs. McAvoy has Mrs. Zolkowski's for delivery in the future. All right. And now we will recognize board members who are departing for their commitment and service to the Board of School Directors.
Thank you. We pulled together just a few highlights of the tremendous amount of work that this group has done as board members over the last 4 or 8 years, or 8+ years. So again, just a few highlights, and on behalf of the board and administration, we'd like to thank our departing board members. This is the last meeting prior to the new board coming in. We'd like to thank them for their dedicated service. And again, these are just a few highlights. It's just scratching the surface of the many contributions. At their table, there is a gift from the district, and the gift we hope we continue to see at activities, and maybe we'll keep you warm. There's been some cool days and a couple cold days as we've celebrated. And then also there's a golden pass to activities, and that's made by our students in Mr. Miller's robotics class. So we certainly hope to see you continue to be at events. So our first departing board member is Kathryn McAvoy. Service years were 2011 to 2015, 2017 to 2021, and then here again in the fall of 2023. Kathryn served as the board president and assistant board secretary, served as the liaison or committee chair for our facilities committee, utilized her business and community expertise to guide the district through several construction projects, working closely, I know, with Mr. Kathryn for many of those years. Kathryn also regularly attended school functions. I know I used to see her a lot of basketball games and other events over the years, and was appointed in fall 2023 to fill the vacant board seat until the reorganization. So when she left the board previously, she didn't change her number. And then when she was called by Mrs. Harenza, she answered the phone and even said yes. So that's always a really good sign. So we thank Kathryn for all of her service. Our next departing board member we'd like to recognize is Steve Pottieger, and his service years are 2019 to 2023. Steve has served as the liaison or committee chair for our finance committee, and has also served outside of his board responsibilities. I see him often as a mentor over at the junior senior high school, working individually with our students, helping coordinate other community members to come in and serve in that one-to-one relationship, helping some of our students move forward with their education and their career plans. He has served as the BCTC board member, and during his time on the board in that position, the district has seen consistent growth in our students attending BCTC. He has consistently provided his expertise in the area of finance, working closely. I know Mr. Boyer will certainly miss him. They can speak the same language and certainly talk the same terms. So, but again, to support our budget development, our 2023 contract negotiations, Steve was a key part, and numerous other projects that call on that business expertise. So we'd like to say thank you, Steve, for your service. Our next board member we'd like to recognize was unable to be here this evening, but Ryan Redner. His service years were 2015 to 2023. Served several of those years as the board president and the vice president, including during the COVID period. And as we all recall, was really a time where we needed cool heads and experienced leadership to help us as a district work through something that really none of us had any experience doing. So certainly some difficult time to be in board leadership. He has served on multiple committees, including facilities, the 2018 contract negotiations, and also worked with Dr. Lengel on development of the special education plan. He served as an alternate for the BCTC and the Berks EIT liaisons. And again, with Ryan's expertise in business and leadership, he's consistently provided support and expertise as a business leader in the community to guide the district initiatives. And he's been a big help behind the scenes in our School to Work program. And this is a program for students that have identified that they need more work experience during the school day, and they can receive high school credit. They can take that work experience with them when they graduate and either continue to work or maybe take some classes. And he's worked with us at a special program at Redner's, and we have some students participating. They also get money towards college credits at RAC if they want it, in addition to their hourly pay. So we'd like to thank Ryan Redner. Our next board member that we'd like to recognize is Laurie Waxler, and service years were 2015 to 2023. Laurie has served really for the bulk or all of that time as the liaison or committee chair for our curriculum committee, working closely with Dr. Woodard and prior to that, Lynette Waller and other teammates in our curriculum area. Has served on multiple committees, and I'm sure I'm going to miss some of these, but I just tried to list some of the more recent. Was a big help with the Bob Wolfram Dedication Committee that just took place. I believe was one of the key members helping the junior senior high school ski club get off the ground. I think has recently handed that off, and did a lot of work with our comprehensive plan. And again, our comp plan ran simultaneously with our strategic plan. So I know Mrs. Waxler was involved in helping. Previously has served as the WAIF and BCTC liaison, serves as the assistant board secretary. And I know it was mentioned a couple times tonight, but need to mention the tireless work to coordinate and implement the junior senior high school career day program each year and provide numerous career-related information sessions and interactions for each Spartan student. Now, Dr. Jones has informed me that Mrs. Waxler has signed a 10-year contract with him, so we will be seeing her for a while with the career day, and he's very happy. But no, we'd like to thank Laurie for all of your help. Our fifth, and you can see we're losing when you look at this list, the amount of years and experience, it just tremendous amount. Our next one is Maria Zelkowski, who's with us via Zoom. Maria's service years were 2015 to 2023. During that time, served several years as our board president and vice president. And again, similar to Mr. Redner, a good part of that time was during the COVID issues, and certainly we all relied on Mrs. Zelkowski for her calm and cool leadership to help us get through that, and really, as in my opinion, and I certainly have a biased opinion in speaking to the other superintendents, I know our district did very well overall during a difficult time. And no one came out of that unscathed, and certainly our students and staff had to bear a lot, but looking around the county at other school districts and what they went through, we were able to stay together, stay focused on the task at hand, and keep moving in a direction. So some other responsibilities of Mrs. Zelkowski over the years, multiple committees, including the 2018 and 2023 contract negotiations, served at times as the finance, facilities, or policy chair, served as a PSBA liaison, and again, has consistently attended school functions. I believe, and we don't need any confessions, I believe Mrs. Zelkowski read every word that I would send. So no confessions for anybody, but Mrs. Zelkowski sometimes on a Monday or Saturday would send me, and I knew because it would be a typo or something, and just extremely dedicated to being prepared in her role. So always thanked her for helping us, even with our written materials. But in those attending functions, use your business background as well to help us and guide a lot of contract and construction endeavors. So I'd like to thank Maria Zelkowski.
Thank you very much. It's been helpful.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, everybody. We will move to public comment. Is there any public comment this evening? Hearing none, moving on to routine approvals. It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approve the following: October 23, 2023 Board of School Directors meeting minutes, Treasurer's report for the month of October 2023, payment of bills for the month of October 2023 as listed in the financial packet. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second? So Mr. Hershey will be the second. And is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Superintendent's report, Mr. Scoria.
Thank you. And just in terms of if any of the public are following, we've had 2 meetings so far in November 6th and November 8th. So the board has done a tremendous amount of work. When you see items that go for approval, there's a lot of work behind the scenes in those preliminary meetings. So tonight's agenda may move a little more quickly, but again, we're thankful for that work that's done at the meetings prior to tonight. The first area is curriculum and technology. It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approve and ratify the following curriculum and technology item, and that is just item number 1.
Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Mr. Boyd.
Mrs. Harenza.
Yes.
Mr. Hershey.
Yes.
Mrs. Kuhn.
Yes.
Mrs. McAvoy.
Yes.
Mr. Pottieger.
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor.
Yes.
Mrs. Waxler.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Our next section is finance and facilities, and before I read the motion, I'd just like to highlight two items of, and again, most of these items come through the either November 6th or November 8th meeting, but I would like to hire two. There's two really interesting donations here from WAIF. One is for the electric vehicle grant and the other is for the greenhouse grant. These are two very exciting projects that our students and I know Dr. Liskey, I believe Mr. Miller, perhaps some of the other teachers down in our STEM or STEAM area will be involved with. And we look forward to bringing some students and maybe staff members to a future board meeting to explain what they're doing. And then hopefully we can time it as well for a tour later in the school year when these projects are moving, as well as if anybody's brave, a ride in the electric car. So it's going to be exciting again to see this hands-on work that the students can do. And WAIF's a big part of that in giving us some of those extra dollars. And then there's a special agreement we've been working on, I think for the better part of a year, with the West Reading Borough. Just for background, currently our junior high baseball has been practicing and playing games over at the Hills. But with the recent construction and given the logistics of that field, it's not ideal for that age group. So with this agreement that's on the agenda tonight, our junior high baseball team would have our practices and our games at the West Reading Playground. And it's really an upgrade in a lot of ways. First of all, the field dimensions are really good for that age group. Our fans will have access to bleachers and bathrooms, which are harder to provide over at the Hills. And it's really going to be special and nice to use that facility for our games. We currently transport the students to the Hills, so that's neutral. Instead, we'll transport them to West Reading, and our crew and their crew are going to work together to contribute and make sure that we do our part to prepare for game days and get the field ready. And then our Hills field will continue to be used by community. Certainly, some of the Little League or youth leagues use that. And we hope that the West Reading field in the summer and maybe in the fall can be used by other teams in the area or other groups that would like to use those larger dimensions at that field. So again, I just want to thank everybody involved. And with that, it is recommended that the Board of School Directors approve and ratify the following finance and facility items, numbers 1 through 18.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, roll call, Mr. Boyd.
Mr. Hershey?
Yes.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mrs. McAvoy?
Yes.
Mr. Pottieger?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Harenza?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Our next section is personnel and policy. And before I read the motion, I'd just like to take a moment and thank Mrs. Marrero. Mrs. Darielli or Mrs. Morel has served the past 6 years as our Director of Food Services. And unfortunately, we're proud of her. She is accepting a position much closer to her home in this field as well. And we're going to miss her. Again, she, if you look at the last 6 years, went through the entire COVID period with some changes to school lunch and breakfast that we had never experienced. Summer meals, if you recall, and pickup meals. And we thank her for her service. We wish her luck. We have posted the position. I know Mr. Boyer is going to be working towards some interviews. And in that interim, we'll likely work with possibly agency support so that we have leadership in place until we're able to find the employee to replace Mrs. Marrero. And with that, it is recommended that the Board of School Directors approve and ratify the following personnel and policy items as presented, and that is numbers 1 through 6.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Would you please express to Mrs. Marrero our deepest gratitude? I can't think of an employee that I haven't heard as many positive things about. Like every time there was something that needed to get done, it was like, yep, Mrs. Marrero, get it done. So if you could please express our thanks to her. Roll call, Mr. Boyer.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mrs. McAvoy?
Yes.
Mr. Pottieger?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Harenza?
Yes.
Mr. Hershey? Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? The only bit of new business I have, administrators, plug your ears, but we board members are going to embark upon our annual thank you for our administrative staff by giving them or treating them to a breakfast at their admin meeting on November 29th. So Mrs. Phillips has agreed to coordinate those efforts. Because we're in between boards, if those of you who are leaving would consider possibly still helping us out in our lame duck sessions, it would be so helpful. And Mrs. Phillips is going to send around, we're on a short timeline here, like 2 weeks, so Mrs. Phillips is going to send around an email, keep your eyes out for that, and she's going to put up a sign-up list, so.
When is our email shut off?
After you sign up for the breakfast. As soon as you deliver that egg casserole from Mrs. Pottieger, and then the email is shut off. All right, is there any, are there any right to know, well, the right to know requests are there? Yes. Any updates from organizations, WAEA? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I say something quick?
Yeah.
The thing I just, I haven't been here nearly as long as some of you guys, but what a wonderful experience. Thank you all, board members, administration is really, the thing I thought is, you look at so much that's happened in the past 4 years and serving on the school board without what's happened is a lot of work and time and can be very emotional at times. So thank you to the community. I think we really, every one of us can say when we look at what's happened in our county and our state and our world over the last 4 years, we've been very, very fortunate. We haven't gone to board meetings in the auditorium or anywhere else and been, had to go through some of the things that other school boards have. So I think our community responded amazingly well, but it's really been a pleasure serving with all of you, so thank you.
Yeah, well said, Mr. Pottieger. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.